Hello, my fellow YouTube brethren. We are back with another video. It's your GZTV, and we have a decent amount. Sorry, I'm gonna keep glancing over my computer to make sure the setup's all good. We kind of changed things up a little bit. We moved back to the old setup. I have my TV over here. I'm gonna put my PlayStation. We're gonna be streaming here as well. Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. But before we stream tonight, we have like 4 YouTube videos to get through today, and the first one's talking about The Boys, 6th episode of season 3. Got my phone right here. So Herogasm, it's fucking weird, right? They have like this annual thing where a bunch of heroes come together and have orgies. I mean, it's got pretty self-explanatory. It's very vulgar. It's very gruesome. It's very disgusting shit you see in this episode, but it has a lot of shock value. It maybe even makes fun of the shock value of some TV shows. I don't know. So episode 6 of The Boys season 3 starts with a dig at the ridiculously out-of-touch Imagine song sung by the celebrities during COVID. So we're kind of like playing on the pandemic here a little bit. They're very recent. They have a lot of recency coverage. They definitely talk about a lot of things that have been happening as of late, and it's really a really cool touch on the show when the creators do this all the time. This lovely bit of satire paves way for Deep checking the CCTV footage and notices Soldier Boy is back. So the Deep is just now kind of starting to realize that the Soldier Boy up in it, is back. Watch me shake and watch me roll. Homelander's there too, and he eventually decides to kill Soldier Boy, burying everything. So he's seeking out to destroy Soldier Boy. He's been causing some problems, I suppose. As we've seen from flashbacks, Black Noir used to have close ties with him and immediately heads out on his own, obviously as a part of Payback. They were part of that superhero gang type of thing. They had that going for him. After cutting out his tracking chip, Homelander realizes his old buddy has gone and is shocked, especially when Deep feeds back what the guy's plan actually is. So Homelander didn't really expect this. The Black Noir throughout the series has been kind of this obedient slave almost, like a henchman. He's almost been like a henchman to Homelander. He's one of the only characters throughout the series that has never really turned on Homelander, and it's really interesting to see. It really shows how bad people are perceiving Homelander's actions in the season, and yeah, it's really, really interesting. Meanwhile, Butcher and Huey sweeten the deal with Soldier Boy, giving him alcohol and pills, kind of thwarting him to help them out. Although Soldier Boy does agree to take out Homelander, he'll only do this if the pair help him track down the rest of his team. So, the first location is the Tnt Twins, and they happen to be at the Herogasm, where it's their house. It's where Herogasm takes place. It's fucking gross, man. I mean, we're not even getting into it. At VOD HQ, though, there's a really nice moment where A-Train heads in and asks Ashley to get justice for Blue Hawk's actions. So, being an activist, representing his race, A-Train's kind of talking to Ashley. He's like, look, we need to get this guy resolved. We need to get him out of here. You know what I mean? It's really interesting. Let's see. Ashley points out his hypocrisy and eventually curses him. So Ashley does bring up some good points to go against A-Train. It's not just like this racist tirade that's going on in this episode. She actually has some good reasons. He has no reason to be asking for anything really after what he's done in his past. So yeah, that's interesting as well. So Kimiko is taken out the game too, attacked in the hospital and tied up in an abandoned warehouse. So for a while, Kimiko's kind of been out of it. She hasn't really been able to attribute to the boys' success, which is kind of sad because she's a pretty likable character. She's very innocent and naive despite having powers. Nina makes Frenchie choose who should die, although the latter manages to break free and kills everyone aside from Nina, who manages to get away. So kind of a badass scene here with Frenchie. He's like stripped naked and he's asked to choose. Does he want to... I don't remember the other girl's name, but I remember they were having like sex or something, and they were like talking to each other intimately in like a hotel room one time. She's not a huge part of his life, but it's in between her and Kimiko. He manages to keep them both alive, but Nina is running away. Although Kimiko claims she's a monster, Frenchie convinces her that this isn't the case. So he's taking a chance. He's taking a chance on Kimiko. He's giving her a second chance. She's had some wrongdoings. She's gotten herself in terrible situations. But the deep Frenchie's there to support her. So that's really nice. Meanwhile, Victoria Newman speaks to Annie in private and talks about Huey. So, yeah, it's becoming more and more awkward as we speak with these two and their kind of interactions with each other. Specifically how she knows he's probably avoiding her over the whole head-popping soup malarkey. So she knows that Huey and Annie have their suspicions. She kind of knows that they know that she is the one behind the Congress attacks and whatnot. But, yeah, we'll just see how that unfolds. That's a crazy storyline. Victoria Newman has kind of put a burden over everyone in New York's head because you can just pop it off their head. Victoria claims to be one of the good guys and tries to strike a deal with her. A lot of manipulating, a lot of blackmailing, a lot of toxicity going on here. We know Victoria's not a good person. She went to a random Congress meeting and started decapitating and exploding people's heads. We know she's not one of the good ones, and Starlight's not going to take that for a second. Victoria wants Annie to lend some influence so she can get her education reform bill passed. So she's wanting Starlight to kind of give her some clout almost, in a way to kind of help her get this bill out. She is a senator, or a governor or whatever. In exchange, she'll protect her from Homelander. She's not going to necessarily kill Homelander, but if Homelander becomes a threat to Annie, Starlight, whatever you want to call her at this point in the series, we know her egos. If he tries to attack her, she will probably end up killing Homelander. So she's not necessarily on Homelander's side, but as long as he's not a threat to Starlight, she's not going to do anything. Starlight refuses, unwilling to work for another nut job. I definitely agree Starlight would be making a terrible decision, be almost career suicide if she decided to work with Victoria Newman. There's a slight bit of tension here, especially when Annie gets a nosebleed, but the woman does eventually leave. So the nosebleed is kind of a sign that Victoria Newman was, very close to popping her head off and killing Starlight, but she held back. Everyone converges at Herogasm, which happens to be a crazy orgy featuring plenty of C-list soups, something that is a yearly tradition for these people. It is kind of fucking disgusting. But if you're not getting enough spotlight and you're getting kind of depressed because you're not getting enough opportunities in the company, might as well partake in Herogasm. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Among those attendants happens to be the Deep, who arrived just before MM and Annie. Termite is here too, while Soldier Boy, Butcher, and Huey happen to be watching from afar. So they're kind of monitoring the place. They're kind of making sure nothing bad happens. Their target, of course, are the twins, or TNT, as they're known as, the TNT Twins from Payback. When Huey shows up to try and find them, he ends up bumping into A-Train. So pretty much everyone is fucking there, but Homelander, Homelander actually ends up being there. Maeve isn't there, that type of thing. Although the latter does actually apologize for what happened to Robin back in episode 1, the pilot, and the whole reason why these boys banded together. He apologizes. But, Huey's anger is too much and he punches him in the face. He definitely doesn't accept that apology. I mean, I wouldn't either. It seemed very short-handed. It seemed very I don't give a fuck. Just get it out of the way, please. And that's how that's the attitude of a lot of the VOD heroes, They don't have time for this squabbing right now, which is something Annie is quick to point out when she jumps in. So she comes in. She's like, guys, we gotta stop Soldier Boy. He's gonna kill everyone. We gotta stop his plans. Huey teleports her outside, pointing out that she wanted to save her. It's kind of weird, it's kind of awkward because they're naked outside, because when you teleport you leave your clothes. That's kind of the trade-off that is the power. It's kind of funny they're naked having this conversation. Annie is shocked, especially when she learns Huey has always had a problem with their hero imbalance, and it leaves the fate of the relationship hanging in the balance. So he's always had a problem with Annie and them, so she's that might get in the way, type of thing. So back inside the house, Soldier Boy shows up looking for the twins. MM is livid when he sees the guy and wants to fight, but Butcher stops him. Obviously, that's not a good idea for you, MM. Soldier Boy is unstoppable. Instead, MM gets his anger out on his former partner, who's all powered up and shrugs off the blows. He's like, give me all you got. Take out your anger. We need to reband together. Soldier Boy confronts TNT, Tommy, and Tessa, who blame Noir for what happened in Nicaragua. Interesting. He eventually manifests his powers and destroys the house. All hell breaks loose. There's blood and guts everywhere, although A-Train decides to get some retribution in the wake of all this and uses his super speed to completely destroy Blue Hawk, which is a W. I really like that they included that. Good for A-Train. He's a villain, but at the same time, you kind of support the guy for that cause. Unfortunately, A-Train also ends up having a heart attack in the process and collapses on the floor. We don't really know what his fate is yet, but yeah. Step forward, Homelander. He touches down, destroying Terminite with a big single crunch from his boot and ends up scoring off against Soldier Boy. Now, this is something you would assume would happen in the season finale, but we still have 2 more episodes in this thing. And by the way, season 4 was officially announced like last month, 2 months ago. So with the pair fighting one another, Annie convinces MM not to fight as well, as they need to save the others inside the house. Butcher and Huey, though, turn the tide of battle, getting involved as well, so obviously they have superpowers, so they're confident enough to step in there. Eventually, they pin Homelander down, as Soldier Boy uses his powers and looks set to explode, but Homelander manages to get away before that happens. He pretty much flies up and gets out of there. So Homelander's retreat sees him back at Vought HQ, staring at himself in the mirror and contemplating his next move as the big villain. He's kind of embraced that role. He's kind of like become this arrogant figure. Like, I have the power, you don't. You can't do what I do. Annie, upon watching all these dead bodies lined up on the street outside Herogasm, decides to film a live stream outing Homelander and claiming Soldier Boy is back. So this is a big-ass live stream for Starlight. Oh my god, this is a turning point in the show. She also quits being part of the 7-2, unwilling to go through with Vought's lies anymore, and prepared to face whatever consequences may be coming her way, namely Homelander attacking her. So Herogasm definitely lives up to its name, as this crazy hour of TV sees a mix of blood, guts, emotion, and fighting combined in this episode. The 3-on-1 fight with Homelander is a great touch at the end, doing well to showcase just how strong Homelander actually is and how difficult it's going to be to keep him down, even when you have the strongest weapons in the world. How will Homelander react to retreating as well? Will he start to lose control? What's going on with Noir? And what about that message Annie put out? All of this combines to make for a really tantalizing glimpse at what could be to pass later in the season, with a lot of fighting and even more questions brought to the table. Ultimately, The Boys has been a real thrill ride this season, and this could just be the best episode of the season so far. So yeah, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. As always, it has been GZTV going through, reviewing. It was a pretty good episode. Kind of disturbing, but obviously the shock value in the show is very apparent. They like to use it a lot. I have 2 more episodes, and then I'm not going to be watching it until season 4 comes out. So we'll probably take a little break, watch Better Call Saul. That's very awesome. I can't wait to watch that show. My dad still has to finish up Breaking Bad.